this edition of Water Drops, we're going to look at how to improve design organization using phase management in InfoDrainage. So, who is this for? Really, this is for any design engineer that is responsible for creating multiple design iterations on a project, having to create those drainage reports where you're comparing the existing and developed conditions. Project managers or reviewers that are comparing the effectiveness of different designers, or really any land development company that wants to see how incorporating green infrastructure compares to traditional methods, all within one file format, allowing you to look at multiple designs and compare their outputs. The workflow that we're going to look at is we're going to duplicate an existing phase, modify the design for proposed condition, run the analysis, and view the comparison reports. We're then going to see what it would look like if you incorporate a lot of different designs. Really, the workflow doesn't change. We're just going to show how this can handle multiple different phases. Now that we've talked about this workflow, let's see what it looks like in action. We're going to be working in InfoDrainage today. We're going to start with just an existing site with one inflow. So the first step is just going to be duplicating this phase, and now it's created a carbon copy of the phase that was already existing in the software. We're going to rename this developed, and as you can see under this tab we have the ability to switch between our different phases. We want to change this inflow area into a residential developed, since we are now looking at the developed phase. We press OK, and now we can go ahead and start laying out our system. So first we're going to turn on some of the layers that have been frozen, and go ahead and go to add network, and just adding some simple manholes and pipes. Don't need to be too critical of this design today, since really what we're more worried about getting to is the output, where we're actually comparing the phases. We're going to go ahead and throw a pond in there. Give this some dimensions with the pond. Little bit, and do just some preliminary sizing. Let's give it some side slopes, and also make sure that it has an outlet. To ensure that we actually have some flows coming out of this and that it will be able to run, we will go ahead and do some of this preliminary sizing, just keeping a lot of the general settings so that we can now run the analysis. Forgot to give this a Manning's N. So that's why the validate tool can come in handy, because it lets us know where something needs to be checked and fixed before we run the simulation, and we're going to go ahead and run this model. So now that we're done running this model, we can go ahead and come to the results and look at this comparison report. Now what this comparison report allows us to do is it actually allows us to compare all of these phases for the different storm events that we see fit, as well as customizing what we want to see as a part of these reports. And so now we can come through and we can see what the inflow and outflow and the runoff reduction for each of these designs to make sure they're meeting the criteria that's set forth by the municipality that you're working in. This is just a way that you can help really create those appendices for your drainage reports, looking at the existing versus the proposed. So we looked at how you could go from an existing to a developed phase all within one file format by duplicating the phase, laying out your design, and then comparing the results. But you could actually take this a step further, and instead of just looking at existing and developed, you could have multiple different designs, whether you're looking at the different size of the treatments, trying to incorporate some green infrastructure. I also have the ability to turn off and on the non-active phases that I'm looking at. It's very easy to switch between these for comparisons. And also what we can do is once we validate all of them, we can actually compare all of these results. In the last one, we really just looked at how you could compare two, but in this one, we are going to look at how you can actually compare all of the different results. And now that that's completed, we can go ahead, go back to the results, look at that comparison results again, let's just look at all of the phases this time, choose a couple different storms, look at the inflow, outflow, runoff reduction, turn it total discharge and runoff reduction, look at the same here, update that preview. So now we took that a step further, and for each of those different storms, we're actually looking at all the different phases. So you can really start building this out, whether you're looking at 30, 60, 90 design, you're trying to test out different drainage designs in your solution. All of that can be done within InfoDrainage within one file. So now that we've talked about the workflow and actually walked through it, I hope you can see some of the benefits. Having improved file management, you're no longer having to work through different files, save out different design iterations, and really it's surrounded around that, being able to compare different designs all within one file. You can compare those pre and post drainage results, allowing you to create some of those appendices for drainage reports, and really you can optimize drainage design through comparing those multiple layouts. So really it's all about trying to store your designs more efficiently, allowing you to compare the results. And so we hope you enjoyed this edition of Water Drops and that you will join us again next time.